some alcohol and here we go. Senor Batman, Senor Batman, Senor Batman, Senor Batman, Senor Batman, Senor Batman, Senor Batman.
Hola, senors, it is I, Senor Batman, and I am here with your week 14 wrap-up, which is the end of the season, so we'll talk a little bit about that. And then we have our playoff preview, round 1. Now, Sunday morning, so let's not waste any time. Let's get to it. Fix my little, whatever this thing's called. We're fixing that. All right, let's get to the wrap-up. Let's do it. Wrapping it up, baby. Let's wrap it up so we don't get any STDs. That's my new song. I'm working on it. There's a little preview. Anyway, first up, Tinker McTinkerton, McLovin, 1v1 facing each other as they do every week. You know, there's no 2v2. There's no. I mean, that'd be an interesting concept for fantasy football if you think about it. What if there was two teams versus two teams? That'd be kind of crazy. That'd be interesting. I'm curious how that would work. But anyway, I can make him be rich. It could be the new guillotine league. I could just make a new one called 2v2 leagues or duos. We call it duos fantasy football. But anyways, Tinker, I'm gonna go through the week 14 kind of quick because we don't really need to talk about that. Let's talk about it in the package of the season, and then we'll move forward. So Tinker gets the big victory, 144-100. Revenge from a few weeks ago when McLevin beat him. Kyler showed up. That's a big reason why. George Pickens was ruled out right before the game, so he didn't get nothing. So that didn't help. Probably wouldn't have made a difference. Tinker gets the victory, his second in a row heading into the season. Next up, Bijan Badness versus Bill Cosby. Another good score by Bill Cosby, but not enough to beat Bijan Badness, 145.02. Big victory for him to get some momentum going in. All his players did very well except for Ingram, who got hurt, and T. Higgins had a bad game. Didn't matter, 145. That's the kind of score you can win with for sure in the playoffs. He gets a victory. Next up, Bo Hacks Pitt versus High Quality H2O. High Quality H2O almost changes his name. Destroys him, 161 to 114.62. Huge score for him. Big week. Who was the culprit? Puka Nacua, 35.8 points. Huge victory for him. A great win for him to end the season, to show, hey, I am capable of having good weeks. If I had Puka all year, I would have been in the playoffs. That's just it. That's my opinion. Okay? Don't come at me. I mean, you can, but don't come at me. But even bigger of a score, I am the liquor. 172.68 versus the succulent Soy Boys, 80.12. And you might be saying, was that always his name? No, he got his name changed twice in a season. Been a bad year for Mr. Bartos. Still 6-8 on the year, so not really the worst. Just team was very inconsistent. Ended up with negative .30 points for his running backs. Brooks got hurt on his first carry. Haskins really had no business being in here at all. I mean, I don't know who else he could have started. There's not really many options. I mean, he could have started Wilson, got another .7, but it wouldn't have made a difference in the week. I'm the liquor with a huge statement victory going into the playoffs. Next up, Slacy Slayer versus Dam Daniels in a crap-fast barn burner. Dam Daniels gets the victory, 95.06 to 89.64. So, less than 10-point victory, both under 100. You're happy with the victory if you're Dam Daniels, but you're not happy with how crappy your team performed heading into the next week of the playoffs. When you're good, yeah, exactly. We take those wins, Galvin Naylor says. Mr. Dam Daniels says. We take those wins, exactly. A win is a victory in the end of the day. But, you probably want a little bit stronger going playoffs, but, you're hoping that this was your down week, and then going forward, you're going to have those up weeks. It was just kind of an off week. That's what you're hoping if you're Dam Daniels. Stacey Slayer, his season kind of goes the way it has. After those first few weeks, when he looked like a dominator, he's just been struggling to score 100 even. It's just unfortunate. This week, I think a lot of it was because of bye weeks. He didn't have Taylor, for example, and that's just kind of the way it goes. Jaden Reed got him 0. It just was a kind of a bad week. Last, certainly not least, Fearboner versus You Like That? Fearboner with a huge victory, 150.44 to 104.10. Huge victory for him. Ends the season 500, just like You Like That. But as you're going to see in the standings, your final standings are Bijan Badness, 11-3. He is your 1 seed, and your regular season champion. $100 goes to him for winning the regular season. In second is I Am the Liquor. And that last week, that loss by Boax Pitt moves him out of that bye week, and I Am the Liquor takes it. So he does not have to play this upcoming week in week 15 for the Senor, or for the playoffs. So that's huge for him. He only has to win 2 games to win it all. Boax Pitt at 9-5 is your third place team. Very up and down, but he did score the most points in the season. So congrats to him on that. Damn Daniels and Tinker both finish 8-6, and as you're going to see, face each other in the playoffs. So that's 2 teams that seem to be pretty evenly matched. We'll get to the preview in a second. That's all I'm going to say about it for now. Then you got You Like That and Fearboner, both at 7-7, but on tiebreaker of points, You Like That is your 6th seed. Also, not to mention, no one below him had more points anyways. Someone coming up behind was High Quality H2O, but he needed a few more weeks. I think he had a bad week the week before. Maybe if he didn't do that, maybe he would have had enough to sneak into the playoffs, but he didn't. But like I said, Fearboner is your 1st seed in the consolation bracket with a bye. Slay Slayers finishes 6-8. He gets a bye. By tiebreaker, Succulent Soy Boys and McLovin also were 6-8, but because they were lower points, they do not get a bye week. They are your 9th and 10th seed. 11th seed is High Quality Show at 4-10. And then the crappy season continues for Bill Cosby. He's had the most points scored against them, but he's also not scored a ton of points. It's kind of a double-edged sword there, a little bit. You can say, oh yeah, but at the same time, no. So 2-12. I think his team is better than 2-12. We'll see if he can make any noise in the playoffs or if he's the future Sacco. So that's kind of your wrap-up. All right? We're going to switch now to preview showtime. And you might be saying, wait a minute, how is that? What changed? Right underneath me it says preview show now. Mr. Galviner says that he didn't want to blow his load last week. He's saving it for this week. Well, let's get to this week. But first, I want to preview something a little bit different here. So I will not have access to the chat at this time because I need to use this cellular device to look at these notes that Mr. Commissioner got for me for the show. I want to be very clear. I do no work. I do none. 0. Okay? I do the show. That's it. I do my video at draft day. That's it. Any other information he wants me to give, then he's got to give it to me. So I'm going to say a reason why I think each team could win it all. I'm going to give you a little stat. It's a little fun little extra thing I'm doing before we get into the preview show here, fully into the preview show. It's kind of a preview show of why each guy has what it takes to win. Bijan Badness, it's easy. He has the most victories this season. He knows how to win. He's kind of the Kansas City Chiefs of this league. A little bit better. He still scores pretty good. He was, I think, the 2nd highest scorer in points. Let me make sure that's true. Yep. So, he's not completely them because they've not scored 30. He has had those big scorers. So, but he always finds a way to get the victory. He's 11-3. That's why he's the favorite. He's the 1 seed for a reason because he won the most. Move down to I Am the Liquor. And you might say, okay, 2nd most wins. But here's another thing. If you look at playoff, 0 work sounds right. I just saw that in the chat. You're right. That's exactly right. I do 0. I barely even make a show every week. It's freaking 10:30 in Illinois right now, and I'm making a show. Football kicks off in an hour and a half. Anyhow, why is Rick his reason? If you look at the record of all 6 teams in the playoffs against each other, Mr. Rick Pucci is 6-1. He's only lost 1 time this year, including those 6 wins are 2 against Bijan Badness. He is 6-1. Just to give you the stats of the rest of the people, Mr. Mikla is 2nd. He's 4-2 against the other 5 teams. with a 66.7% win percentage. Next is your commissioner, Mr. Tinker. He's 3-3. He's 50%. So he's 500 against the playoff teams. Then you got Mr. Bohack Pitt at 2-4, and Mr. David Kidd. You like that at 2-4, 33% of time win percentage. And then last you have Dame Daniels, because damn, you've only won 2-5. So same victory as the two guys we had for him, but he had one extra game against those guys. He has one more loss. So just again, so that's why I think Mr. I'm Liquor could be considered has what it takes to win. He's beaten all these teams, most of any of these teams. So when he's got to step up to the challenge, he's done it 6 times, and only one time has someone thwarted him, and I believe it was You Like That. I'd have to go back and look, but I'm pretty sure it was You Like That was the one that beat him too. So anyhow, so that's the reason for I'm the Liquor. For Boax Pitt, pretty clear. He scores a lot of points. His team is clearly the most volatile team in this league. He's 9-5. He's lost 5 times, but he has also scored the most points. His team can put up 180 in a week. That's what you need in the playoffs, but it's also what can screw you in the playoffs. You know, if your team is having one of those down weeks, you're going to get a loss like he did in the season. In the playoffs, though, if you can get those big scores, that's the kind of thing that can lead you to a title. Then we get to Dame Daniels. And I'm going to be honest, my brain is kind of forgetting what it was about Dame Daniels. Oh, I remember now. I had all this thought out. I did a little work because I wanted to make sure I could do this. He gave me some of the stats, but with Dame Daniels, why is Dame Daniels, what's his chance? Here's why. Let's take a look at his team. He's got Joey Burrow, one of the best quarterbacks in the league, but also the number one player he's got is Saquon Barkley, a.k.a. the number one running back in football. If we go over to players, and then let's see if you can do this, because sometimes, here we go, free agents. And if we go to, let's just go to flex. Let's take out the quarterbacks. And then we go to season. What you're going to see, oh shit, he isn't the best in art format. Regardless, wait, this isn't true. This is not right. Something's wrong here. Oh, this projection. Let's go to actual stats. There it is. Saquon Barkley, the best player in fantasy outside of quarterbacks who score more points. Just to kind of show you right there. And look at it, it's kind of a gap. It's 16 points. Like, that's a pretty good week for most players. So if you go to that, he's got the number one player in football, fantasy football, that you'd want. He'll probably be the number one player on the board next year in redrafts. So just kind of, oh, and that's the other thing. He makes a good point. The most unlucky losses, that's the other thing with him. What am I trying to pull up here? Sleeper. Let's go to the Fantasy Genius app on Sleeper. Oh, and well, I'll go back to him. But yes, for losses, of the playoff teams at least, he is the one with the most unlucky losses. He has got one lucky win, but he also has 3 unlucky losses, meaning he was a top 6 scorer, but faced another top 6 scorer above him. So he could have had the second best scorer, but he faced the number 1 team. So therefore, he's had some unlucky losses. So that means that, you know, you could say, hypothetically, he could bounce back. Now, the other thing I want to point out is he took over the team of last year's champion. So it's got that team that he took over. It's like if a coach retired and then the new guy came in. That team has still that championship pedigree. They proved they could do it. He's taken over it. He's gotten into playoffs. He's the 4th seed. So, you know, he did, you know, not as good as last year, but he is in the playoffs, and he does have that championship team. So enough about him. The other thing about Bohack is that on the power rankings, and if you remember that, just to remind you, is if everyone faced all 11 teams every week, what would your record be? Bohack's was the best. So that's another reason besides scoring the most. All right, so back to this. So your next seed is Mr. Tinker McTinkerton. And really, honestly, I will just say, kind of similar to Bohack's team, we look at his team. His team is also just very volatile. On paper, it's a great team. Best tight end in football with Brock Bowers. He's got top 10, 2 good running backs. Murray, kind of up and down. But also, Murray has a very good schedule. If you look at this, I don't know if this shows the green. It doesn't, but it's New England, Carolina, Rams. All solid matchups. Last time he faced Rams, he had 34 points. Just kind of showing you he has the ability to do it. Will he actually do it? Who knows? Maybe James Conner robs it. But, A.J. Brown, if he can get back on page with Hurts, Tyreek Hill is starting to get it going last 2 weeks. Look at his scores. You can see 17, 23. That's kind of what you expected when you took that guy. And there he is. So, Drake London, he's receiver number 7 on the year. Wilson is number 8. Like, he's got the talent. It's just, will they show up for him? If they do, he could be the guy that wins it all. You like that? What's him? I will say this about Mr. You Like That. He is the 6th seed for a reason. He is the underdog. And really, this is the thing. If his team can get through this week, he probably won't have Kenneth Walker. Kupp already got him 0. But if he can somehow emerge from this week victorious, if he somehow can do it, right? If Walker comes back next week, he's got Kamara. I mean, he's got some players that are high score. Like Jerry Jeudy, he's the 10th receiver on the season very quietly, So he's the underdog. He's someone that no one's expecting, but he has beaten. Let's see if I can pull up his. I can't do it from here. The phone app is so much better, guys. I really can't stress enough how much better. I'm just going to do it from here, and I'll just speak it out into existence, okay? But also in power rankings, while I'm here, he was 3rd. He had the 3rd best power ranking record at 93 and 61. So just to go with power rankings real quick. Bohax Pitt number 1, Bijan Badness number 2, You Like That number 3, Damn Daniels number 4, I Am the Liquor number 5, and Tinker McTinkerton number 6. So that's your power rankings, if everyone faced everyone. So You Like That, despite being 6th seed, is the 3rd in power rankings. And then if you look at luck, he has had 2 unlucky losses himself. So just something to kind of put out there. And I think, what I say on this, I said he was 2-4, correct? Yes. Let's go to schedule. So, his 2 victories did come against Tinker McTinkerton, of those 4, and I Am the Liquor. So, like I said, that's 6-1 team, the team that's the best against the playoff teams this season during the regular season. That one loss was You Like That. So, he does have the ability to win. He just, honestly, health has been a big problem for him. If he can just get healthy, he can maybe do it. It's going to be tough this week. Started with a 0 with Kupp. But that is that. And here's what, actually, we're going to start with the 2 consolation bracket matchups, and then we'll move back. I won't forget this time to go back. All right? So let's get to the previous one. But basically, all 6 of these teams have what it takes to win. There's reasons why. It's not just 1 or 2 guys' game. It's anyone's game. Like I said, just do quick, rapid fire. Bijan, he's got the most victories. He's obviously the favorite. He won the regular season. I Am the Liquor, he's got the best playoff record against the playoff teams in the regular season. Bohack, most points scored, and number 1 in power rankings. 4, Damn Daniels, he's got the best player in fantasy football. He has the most unlucky losses of playoff teams. And I think there was another reason, but we're going to move on. Tinker McTinkerton, on paper, his roster is stacked. It just has been coming short at times this year. If it all lines up at the right time, could be a champion. And Mr. David Cade, Mr. You Like That, there it is. He's the underdog of the playoffs for sure. But if he can survive this week, and Walker could be back next week, and the team could get healthy. He's the guy that had Christian McCaffrey, and he's just, it's a lot of health related. But he also did beat the other one team. The one loss that You Like That, that I Am the Liquor had was to him. So he has what it takes to beat these top teams. He's also beat Tinker. So moving along. First up in the consolation bracket, we have High Quality H2O versus McLovin. They are projecting a McLovin victory, 112-100. Pretty, not definitive, but pretty decided. So, first up, Herbert's definitely going to do better than Purdy. Purdy had a very bad game on Thursday Night Football. If it was before this, I probably would have gone Purdy, but I'm going to go Herbert this time. Cook, Pacheco, Jones, Hubbard. Give me Cook and Pacheco. Jefferson, Nakua, Hopkins, Wims. Give me Jefferson, Nakua. Jonnu, Pitts. Give me Jonnu. Just in case you're not on board with what's going on with Pitts. Last 3 weeks, 1.4, 7.5, 1.6. It's not happening. And that was after a 2-touchdown game before that. So he was doing it, and then he fell away. So give me Jonnu. He's been unbelievable lately. Last week he came down until the overtime, but we'll see. Quentin Johnston, Johnston, and Tony Pollard, Najee Harris, and Jordan Addison. Give me Harris and Addison on this one. Bates over at McManus by a little bit, not by a ton. New Orleans versus the Washington. Baltimore versus Giants. Give me Baltimore over the Giants for sure. There is a little bit of a gap there. I'm actually going to think that high quality H2O wins. I know he had a bad Thursday night. I mean, not really. Puka had an okay game. It wasn't what you probably hoping for, more like 20 points, but it's not the end of the world by any means whatsoever. So, yes. So I will say high quality H2O squeaky out a victory. Next up, Bill Cosby versus the Succulent Soy Boys. And honestly, this is a matchup of two teams that have shown the ability to have great weeks, but then just really been struggling randomly. Goff, Daniels. So this is tough, and I'll tell you why. My gut right away said Daniels, but the Saints are not a very good team. I mean, they're okay. They're not terrible, but is there a chance that Daniels in the Washington Commanders blow them out after a bye week and just pull away, and then, it becomes, handing off to Chris Rodriguez or, someone else, and basically, Daniels doesn't get a big game because of it, whereas Goff is going to have to throw all game against Buffalo, for sure. He's going to have to put up numbers. But does that mean he's also going to throw interceptions? So, I'm going to take Daniels, but I'm going to say it's close to a push. Brown, Stevenson, Mixon, Wilson. I'm going to go Brown, Stevenson, but I could see Mixon scoring enough that he outscores both these guys on the left. Next up, Myers, Flowers, Mooney, Moore. Give me Mooney and Moore. Gray, Kittle. I'll go Kittle. He had 8 points. I don't know if Gray's going to score more than that. Smith, Warren, Thielen, Harrison. Give me Thielen and Harrison. Koo, York. Don't see a huge one there. Same with Denver and the Jets. Probably, Denver's got a worse matchup, so it kind of equals out. All right, so, yeah, I think they're projecting Bill Cosby to win. I'm going to project that the Succulent Soy Boys win. And here's why. Bill Cosby just can't get lucky. He couldn't get lucky in a women's prison right now. That's what it really boils down to. He could be in there, he could walk in, pants down, swinging around, and he wouldn't, and no one would come to him. This is luck of his year. So I think he's going to lose. But I think what the key to his team is that if Goff puts up a 30, even 40-point game against Buffalo and Daniels doesn't have to, I think that is enough to swap it. So I guess we will see what happens there. But for right now, my prediction for this week is Succulent Soy Boys. So that would mean next week, your Sacco matchup would be McLovin versus Bill Cosby. So remember, the loser of those two go to the Sacco Bowl. And we have a Sacco decided next week. So we'll find that out. Next up, we'll start with Tinker McTinkerton.
Music or video?
No, I want you to stop talking to me. Stupid AI. Anywho, Tinker McTinkerton versus Damn Daniels. Tinker has beat him both times. But if you remember, the last time in week 8 when they faced, Tinker beat him by like 0.4 or some bullshit. It was literally like Jordan Mason needed 4 more yards, but he got hurt, and then he was standing at the sideline. He didn't come back in the game, and Daniels lost. Literally, a stat correction would have erased his victory. But it didn't happen. Tinker got the victory. So this is he's 2-0 against Damn Daniels. So unfortunately, Damn Daniels kind of owes him one, right? I mean, unfortunately for Tinker at least. Let's take a look at what happens. Murray, Burrow, gotta go Burrow. Always gotta go Burrow, even with the tougher matchup. Gibbs, Aaron Williams with 12 points. Barkley or Swift. If Swift plays, let's see, is Swift playing? Swift got an unlimited practice after he was absent and he remains in the lead role if cleared. And Roshan was ruled out. So he plays on Monday. So that's probably why I think he picked up Travis Homer. Yeah, so it might be Homer. So if it's Homer, it's definitely Gibbs and Williams. But this is a tough one, and the reason why is because Saquon versus Pitt. Barkley against Pitt should be a tough one, whereas Gibbs against Buffalo should be a good one. I think I'm going to go Gibbs and Williams, but it's close. I could see Barkley, tearing it up, regardless of who he's facing. So I just think because of matchup, I'm going to give Gibbs and Williams, because even if Swift plays, I don't think he gets to 12 points. I mean, if he gets in the end zone, maybe, but, against Minnesota last time, what did he do? Let's see. 8 points. That's what I'm saying. So give me Gibbs and Williams on that. Brown and Hill, Metcalf and Evans. That's a really tough one, too. I want to say Brown and Hill, just because Metcalf and Evans have been kind of disappearing randomly, but so is Brown. So that's where it's kind of... And Hill's kind of been heating up. That's a tough one. What did Evans do last week? That's going to determine it for me. 9-4 is his last 2 weeks. Tough matchup against the Chargers. I'm going to go Brown and Hill, but very, very close. Very close. Bowers, McBride. Give me Bowers. McBride needs to get a touchdown. I mean, if he gets a touchdown, then I'll change that. London, Wilson, Thomas, Ertz. Give me London, Wilson. Kickers. Fairbairn is definitely a better kicker for this week because Chargers are a tough matchup. Minnesota defense. Washington. I think Washington's better defense by a little bit. Last time they faced, I think Minnesota only had 4 points or something. Okay, so I think Tinker gets the victory again, but it's going to come down to it for sure. I think there are some very key players. Kyler Murray on Tinker's side, 100% is super important. If he comes out and puts a 6-point game up, a 10-point game up, a 12-point game up even, that's going to be disaster zone for Mr. Tinker. He needs him to actually put up these 20 points this week. And he should be able to do it against New England. He should be able to do it. If he doesn't, that's not good. On this side, Saquon Barkley, I think, is key. Can he still put up a 20-point, 30-point even game against Pittsburgh? If he can, that's going to be a big boost for Mr. Damn Daniels. He's going to need that very much so. Also, this receiver area, I think, is really going to be key. Because Brown has been, let's just say what it is, pretty much shit for 3 weeks. 2 weeks, excuse me. Well, 3 out of the last 4 weeks. He's not giving you what you need. He needs to get in the end zone. And, super volatile. Hill has been heating up. If he continues to heat up, that will be big. But Metcalf and Adams are both capable of 30-point games themselves. Could be huge. Evans, I feel like every year in the playoffs goes off. And I know it's the Chargers, and they're a really tough defense. Lowest points allowed in the league. So that could screw him. But I guess we will see. McBride, again, if he gets a touchdown. So I'm going to go Tinker, but really, 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 really think it's going to be close. Really going to be close. I think it's going to be down to the wire. In fact, going back, who's got Monday night players? So Bowers goes on Monday, as does London. And then on this side, we just have Swift. So it's going to come down to Monday Night Football for sure. And it's going to be interesting. And then last but certainly not least, to get you out of here about an hour before football starts, Bohax Pit. You like that. They are projecting an absolute beatdown right now, mainly because someone did not switch in players, which I will send this man a text now through the commissioner's phone. Let's see what else he's got in here. He got any pictures of anything good? No. So it looks like all right. Anywho, So he'll add some points there because who does he got on his bench that he could throw in there? Abdullah for like 1 point, but so he might need to go to the waivers. But anywho, moving along. Jackson, Mayfield, give me Jackson. Robinson, Jacobs, whoever he puts in for Walker and Kamara, it's Robinson, Jacobs. Chase, McLaurin, Judy, and Cup with 0. Chase and McLaurin. I think you're seeing what's going to happen here. Hawkinson, Andrews, close, but give me Hawkinson. Hall and Debo with his 3.4. Downs and Allen. I actually will take Downs and Allen there. Well, I don't know. Hall's kind of banged up. I just don't know how good he's going to do. And he only got 3. So I think Downs and Allen will probably outscore those two at least. Kickers, no big advantage there in my opinion. Defenses, no advantage there in my opinion. Black's Pitt's going to get the victory, I think. I don't know if it's going to be an absolute beatdown, but he's going to probably get the victory. I mean, that's a pretty easy one for me. Unfortunately for you like that, injury continues for him in the playoffs. Cup getting 0 points. That's going to just be an absolute... I mean, Debo did bad too, so he has a chance, but that's just kind of how that goes. That is not the screen I wanted. This is the screen I wanted. Okay. So that is your show. 33 minutes. Tried to keep it as tight as possible, but I wanted to really get in depth. I mean, it's the playoffs, So we will see who gets winning, who loses, who gets to continue their season, and who goes to be in the Sackle Bowl. So, until next week, I am your host, Senor Batman. And until next week, when we see how it all shook out,